They have the hard-hitting analysis.
I'm anti-injury, so maybe this won't work out.
Kyler's only playing one tight end this week, so that's probably going to help him out a lot.
They tell it like it is.
That's not what I needed, Grandma Nut.
All right, the hipster fantasy player.
I don't do anything.
Their listeners love them.
Found all your charts boring, to be frank. Caitlin was the star of the show.
They break down all the statistics.
20 points. That doesn't quite add up. Maybe he had 93.
This is the Snick Snack Sports Podcast.
Here we... All right, Snickers, help me out.
What's going on, all those Cowboy fans out there? How about them Cowboys? How are you doing today, Nate?
Doing great, Snickers. Another great weekend of football last week, or maybe not so much. It was actually kind of one of the messiest week of football I think I've ever seen.
It was a lot of fun watching football last week, but on to week 4 here, onto greener pastures for some, and for others like me. I got my first win last week, so it was a lot of fun.
Congratulations. It was a pretty bad week for many people, although some of those people played each other. I did play Kyler. We had another toilet bowl. I almost eked it out. I also felt like I almost scored like 40 points on the week. So hopefully the NFL scoring kind of goes back to what we're used to. Not that it hasn't been fun to watch. But we got Kenny on the show today to talk about his successful season so far. We'll also have some of Caitlin's hot takes as a return and a new sponsor. Exciting week.
I'm excited.
We did forget to talk about our bet on the show, but you can see it in last week's episode description. It was the trade matchup. I had Jordan Mason, which just went to Matt's team. You had CD Lamb, which just went to Ducky's team. They actually both had kind of down weeks, at least from a fantasy perspective, but I did win 10 points for Jordan Mason to CD's 7.
Yeah, so I think our total, between our 4 players we bet on so far, have 20 points. So we're trying to change that up a little bit. We're going with the youth. We're going with the excitement. We're going with the Marvin Harrison versus Malik Neighbors here. Who are you thinking about is going to win that bet right now, Nate?
Well, I think they're both going to have an excellent week. They're both playing bad defenses. But I went Malik. He's been very impressive. I was excited about him after he was on the Hard Knocks kind of draft series. The Giants were obviously excited about him, and I didn't really believe that he was going to turn out the way he did on a team with such a bad offense, but he's been having a really exciting season.
Yeah, I mean, he is their whole offense, which is nice. I have him in one of my leagues, and he has scored 26 points last week, the week before. It's pretty great. But yeah, Marvin Harrison, the chosen one, the Hall of Famer. I think he's going to have a really good week against Washington defense, and it's going to be a lot of fun watching them just tear them up. 120 yards, 2 tugs. Will be fine. Nick Adams knows what I'm talking about. It'll be good.
Yeah, I think it'll be kind of volume versus big plays has been their signature so far. But I'm excited for them both. Now, if we're looking at the league's standings here, we can see that we still have 2 undefeated teams left, 2 powerhouses in Kyle and Ducky, both people who were able to make moves at the trade deadline last year to benefit their draft of this year. Although Kyle actually traded away some picks too. And these were our 2 finalists last year. And here they are again. Meanwhile, Katie is a 3 team.
Yeah. Now, Katie should bounce back. She's going up against, I don't remember who this week, but I'm excited to watch her come up. She was almost a match for the week. But yeah, there was a lot that happened last week. Obviously, I said I got my first win on Jaden Daniels' 40-yard touchdown bomb to Terry there. We got Carson with a big win over Shane, who sucks. Sorry to say that, Shane, but 61 points. We got the toilet bowl between Nate and Kyler, where they're both at 1 and 2 now. We got Nick Adams beating Katie pretty good, and then we got Kyle and Ducky with pretty easy wins. They're not as easy as they have been in the past, but now I'm going up against Ducky this week, so his easy schedule continues apparently. But no, a lot of fun last week. Looking forward to what's going on this week here.
Yeah, it'd be also interesting to look briefly at the points for standings.
Hmm.
Not too different, but it kind of tells you who has had some bad luck so far this year. We could see that Kyle is actually by far our leader. I thought it might have been Nick before I looked at this, but now Ducky's in second. Mid-tier Nick's having a good year so far. Um, and I'm pretty pleased to see myself in the top half of this league. I'm in fifth place right now, so that makes me feel like my team's going to have a turnaround despite the bad week. Shane's been very hot and cold. And we actually have a big pack that you're part of here of kind of, Carson, John, Katie, and you and Matt are all
Mhm.
right there around the 100 points per week threshold or just below. And then it's Tyler, who I just lost to, is having the tough year, 20
Yeah.
points.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, if Katie didn't have 400 against her in the first 3 weeks, I would be complaining a lot more. But yeah, I'm definitely having a tough schedule at the beginning of the year. It's going to lighten up a little bit, especially when I get up against people like you and Tyler and Carson and whoever else is going to be, not projected to beat me. Maybe it'd be fun to do that. I also got to score some more points. It's on me. It's my responsibility there.
Yeah. Like you said, it was a lower scoring week last week. Mid-tier Nick had the biggest week out of everybody, um, which is yeah, usually 126 is not the week high, so that just tells you how it went. But for him,
Mm.
it was Saquon and Aaron Jones who drove his team forward.
Yeah, old hats.
Um, and yeah, just a lot of duds. We don't even have time to go through them all, but it was a couple of standouts amongst a some really poopy weeks. Now, what's going on in the news? I think, fortunately, despite the bad performances, there wasn't too much in the way of injuries.
Yeah, I mean, we all know who was on IR to Puka Cooper Cup, but we got Austin Eckler out this week. He hurt himself in the game on Monday. We got Adam Thielen out, who broke a rib or something, catching a touchdown. AJ Brown's going to be out again, probably, and Devontae Smith probably as well. They're going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who see how that goes. Joe Mixon is wavering in and out. Jordan Love, there's more rumors that he might play again, but if the injury is as serious as that they said, I don't expect him to see him for another week or two. Obviously, yeah, a lot of teams to watch out for, a lot of players to do. Keep checking your lineups, but yeah, not too many huge new ones here. No season endings from last week.
No, yeah, which is good. I mean, they come most weeks, but this week it was just a couple of concussions of people who'll be missing a week or two, mainly as the big news. Hoping to get AJ Brown back personally,
Mm.
but he has a bye week the following week, so they might give him the week off. I would get it if they did. Um, but let's start looking at the week ahead. We'll have Kenny join us in just a second, but before we do, we have a quick word from today's sponsor. We got a new one.
Tonight at 9 p.m., an exclusive interview with your very own podcast host, Nate Soames. Here's an exclusive sneak peek. What are your thoughts on child cannibalism?
No thoughts. No thoughts.
Have you partaken?
Ate it. Yes, I did eat it.
What do you have to say to all the children out there?
You've been warned, people.
Do you think anybody should just be able to eat children?
Yes. No exceptions.
How did you come up with these theories?
In our basement every week, watching the games, conjuring hot takes. We're so excited.
What are you so excited about?
I have no idea, people.
Watch the full interview here at 9 on the Snick Snack Sports YouTube channel.
Yeah, well, thank you to that sponsor. It sounds like we have some saucy details coming up in that interview, so stay tuned.
Mm.
And welcome Kenny to the show. We're on. Welcome, Kenny. How you doing tonight?
I I guess I'm supposed to be depressed because I lost or something. I don't know. Snickers thinks I just am depressed by this point of the season, so I'll just be sad or something. I think my team's overperforming. I think everything's executing more or less how I thought it would. Maybe a little bit better. I thought kind of coming into the season, I was definitely disadvantaged, kind of giving up the draft picks I gave up. Really hurt losing Puka week one and putting him on IR, but my team's overperforming. I think I got value where I could. and I think I'm doing
Well,
great.
yeah, honestly, looking at the season standing so far, you're the fourth highest points for and pretty high on the points against. So you're actually performing pretty decently according to these stats. But yeah, I know that your team starts off hot and likes to cool off for a little bit. Let's see if it can make a comeback for the playoffs.
You see, you talk all this trash now. Just I'm coming back for it. So if we take a look at the standings, you're a little ways down there, bud. You got to come up a little bit first.
Yeah. Hey, I'm only 5 places behind you. I'll be right there.
I'll be waiting for you. Don't keep me on the altar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kenny, as I do love to hate on your team as well, and I will continue to do that. Although I also do trust the ESPN Power Rankings, and it has you ahead of me in the Power Rankings right now. So,
See, but I don't know that I trust the power rankings because controversial take. I think Kyle's team is better than Nick's team. I think it's better.
Yeah.
well, so far the points
Power
bear that out. I
rankings-
think he's beaten them by
Power
like
rankings
40 points.
disagree
So
with
far.
me, but my hot take is Kyle's team's better.
I don't know if that take's so hot. I mean, I think he's outscoring him by about 15 points a week right now, believe it or not.
No, I believe that.
He is Ducky is in second place, but yeah, Kyle has been dominant. We'll see if he keep it up. I was talking about how he made draft pick trades. I realized I think he actually traded away his draft picks last year. So I don't know how he's making it work.
About the same way I'm making it work. You just find the value where you can in a draft. Like, I didn't have pick in the second and third round, but I think I got, kind of some good value, got some sneaky players that I was able to sneak away and hold on to. For some reason, I have this obsession with Chuba. I don't want him on my team. I don't like Chuba Hubbard. I'm still mad that you wanted to trade him to me last year and I wouldn't take him. I don't like him. I but he's there and he's doing things for me, so we take what we can get.
Well, you lost
Yeah.
last year because you didn't take the trade. If you took the trade, you would have been in the playoffs. So
Sounds like Nate will be willing to trade for him. Nate, you still looking for another running back?
Hey, if you're still looking for one, he's on the market.
I didn't see him on the trade block, though. I'll have to think about it.
He
But,
could be out there for the right price. He could be out there.
Although, so here, looking at your matchup this week, Kenny, against John, it looks to be a close matchup, and I do see that he is kind of integral to the structure of your team. You don't play Chuba. Who do you have? You're going to play Bucky Irving. I think he might be injured this week.
I think he's injured, but we hold on to Bucky. I'm not. We're not getting rid of Bucky.
Captain
Uh,
America's best friend.
we just hold on to him. You never know what's going to happen in the world, but we just hold on to Bucky. And how can you go wrong with a name like Bucky?
And how can you go wrong with a name like Chuba?
Very easily. He's done it for me in the past.
No, so what worries me about your team, Kenny, now that I'm looking at the roster in more depth here, I like your starting lineup, but your bench is pretty sparse, and Jordan Addison is like kind of iffy if he's even going to play. Am I right?
Yeah, Jordan Addison is the alcoholic of the Alcoholics Anonymous. We're working on him, but I don't know if he's playing this week. He's there right now because there's a lot of positive news that he's trending in the right direction to play this week. Somehow Minnesota has made Sam Darnold look like
Like Dante Culpepper.
Exactly. Like I don't know what they've done to him. Is it just the Jets and the Panthers? Is it just that? Like I probably actually now that you say it out loud, it's that checks out anyway. But it's for what everyone thought as soon as JJ McCarthy goes down was like, okay, it's a lost season for the Vikings, and I think in many people's cases, in many people's power rankings, they're up there pretty high. Kind of interesting, and Jordan Addison, if he gets onto the field, I think he's got a chance to put up some points. It's really a question whether or not he makes the field.
Well, that's what I mean. He doesn't play. He's obviously going to have to be taken out of your lineup, and you're going to have to stick in like Gabe Davis.
I wouldn't put Gabe Davis in.
Babe.
No, Gabe Davis. I have plans. Don't worry. We're working on things. Always
All right.
working.
Well,
I
tell
have a
me.
plan. If the plan is that I don't have a plan, I still technically have a plan.
I see. Now tell me the narrative that leads to your victory this week with this roster.
It's honestly, I think my strongest asset is I have Chris Godwin, and as much as I love Philadelphia, and I am a diehard Eagles fan, our secondary has some holes, has some questions to it. Defense, we did all right last week, but uh, I'm not fully sold yet. And Godwin, I think, has very strongly proven himself to be just a really top tier target for Baker Mayfield. I think he's having a phenomenal season. Will continue to have a phenomenal season. So I think Godwin, as the core of my wide receivers, carries me. Brian Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs are always just going to put up at least mid decent things. Like again, like I feel like I got value with my players. Like I just found players at the right times in the draft, and I feel like I have just a nice, like well-rounded team. I don't think anyone particularly stands out except maybe Godwin, but I feel like the team will hold itself well-rounded throughout the season.
Now, what do you think about the fact that you're only projected to beat John because he has Jamal Williams as a starting running back?
Hey, Jamal Williams scored 23 touchdowns 2 years ago.
Yeah, say how long ago that was one more
Two,
time.
two, 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah. One more time for everyone listening at home.
Count them, 2 years
ago. What
Yeah,
did he
no,
do?
that's
What
what I
did he do
mean.
last
Jamal
year?
is Jamal is not a
Nothing.
scary member of his lineup, but I'm looking at the his other running backs, and it is John's got some running back problems we can see, but Joe Mixon could play this week, so
If he plays and he throws Joe Mixon, I still think just overall my team being just generally solid. I don't think I have any. I have a couple. I'm not like obviously sold on the tight end. Obviously, not really what I was after. But tight end, I've chosen not to prioritize as heavily this year. I think just having good, solid, just even if even if they're like B to C tier, like just solid players, I think we'll be all right. So I think that's going to carry me here.
and I was actually excited about Javid and Joku before the season. I know he's been injured. If he's coming back, that he could serve you well.
Yeah, I
Um,
think again, just solid. Not going to put up superstar numbers, but solid.
and who you calling in this game, Nick?
I think it's tough. I mean, John doesn't care at all. So that kind of helps him out sometimes. He's got some really good players and he's got some really bad players. And I beat John because Ramondo scored less than a point on Thursday Night Football last week. So I think Kenny's got the chance to definitely get a win here. Let's see how it goes. I don't know what week we're matching up Kenny, but that's obviously going to be pretty interesting.
And
I'll
more
take it
than
either.
anything, defense wins championships. Give me that Steelers defense every day of the week.
Yeah.
They've been serving you well too.
They've served me very well. I think it's 12 points every week. It's like that's free money right there.
Yeah.
No, I think I am calling John's team here this week, Kenny. Regardless of whether Jamal's the one who starts.
Well, Kirk Cousins isn't in prime time, so I mean, I do have that going against me. I'll give you that one, but
and he's got some guys who can really blow up on his team, and I think one or two of them will. And I think that will be the story.
all
We'll
right.
be fighting against some huge Jonathan Taylor week or some huge Ramondre week. There's four guys on this team I see, maybe even five, who could have like a 30, 40 point week.
All right. Well, I'll circle back to you on that on Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what's the matchup you're looking at this week, Nick?
I'm looking at one that I think is going to be fun to see if who wants to lose more. It's Kyler in 11th place versus Shane in 7th place. They're both 1 and 2, but they're both been underperforming. Kyler barely beat you last week after you had a big comeback, but wasn't very impressive on either side here. So it's going to be fun because they both have some good players. Shane really went full all or nothing approach with Anthony Richardson, Devon Achane, Isaiah Likely. He put $50 in them or something. So it's really going to be interesting to see if Shane scores 60 again or scores 120. But it'd be fun to watch. And then Kyler's team looks solid on paper, so it'd be interesting to see who goes there.
Yeah, who do you call here, Kenny?
Uh, that's gonna be a tough one. Um, I think I think I'd go with I think I'd go with Shane on this one. I don't see Kyler pulling it off. I think unfortunately we're seeing really truly the tail end of Travis Kelce's career. This really is kind of it feels like it's the curtain call. Like maybe he plays one more season, but he just hasn't. I just don't think he's there anymore. Like mentally,
Yeah.
he's just not there. He's living in, the back of stadiums, hearing Taylor Swift sing to him all day. Like I think that like I just don't think Travis is gonna help carry the way he could. Bijan might help, but I don't see it. I'm pulling for Shane this week.
Mm.
Looking at his team, I mean, obviously Carson played last week and he won. His team doesn't look as bad as it's played out in the standings. But I agree. I think Shane probably has it. I don't think either one of them will look that good this week. But Shane, Deontay Johnson has some renewed life with the new quarterback. Um, there's some players on his bench that could develop into something at some point. Obviously, it's been impacted by some injuries. This week, though, um, one of the key to Shane's success is if Anthony Richardson turns it around, and I don't think he's going to against your Pittsburgh Steelers.
I don't think he's going to. I actually, I again just thinking to the Eagles secondary having issues. Wouldn't be surprised Mike Evans has a surprisingly big week.
They
Like
played the Eagles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Tampa Bay against the Eagles this week. I hate to say it's the whole of my favorite team, but it's our biggest weakness.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna pick Shane too. Just looking at Kyler's bench, he has two kickers, two defenses, and Bryce Young on his team. So I'm gonna go with Shane. Because Kyler's
Yeah,
head's not the right place right now.
that is sinful there.
Are you saying Kyler is also thinking about Taylor Swift singing to him?
That's all I'm thinking about since you said that. So
That's all anyone should be thinking about. This is Taylor Swift's world, didn't you know?
it is.
And I also wanted to highlight your matchup, Nick, versus Ducky. I thought this was an interesting one because, I would say the Vegas line, if they were to set one here, would be Nick in a blowout. I mean, Ducky in a blowout. And but there's a number of players who are questionable this week. Some of his core team members. Sam Laporta is not that good, but he's also dealing with injuries. He could be a little hobbled. Alvin Kamara could be a little bit iffy. I don't think CJ Stroud's going to have to do that much this week against Jacksonville. I mean, it worked out for Josh Allen last week. I think he's vulnerable this week, even to your team.
It looks like he is. His front four there at the top are very, very good. Obviously, they're going to do well, but the rest of his team are shaky, especially with Laporta being a little injured. His bench is not intimidating at all, with all the bears on it and all the zeros on it. So I think I have something here. Might be able to sneak out a win. It's not going to be a blowout from my side, but I think I have enough heart to take him down.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize Tank Dell was injured. We didn't have that in the news, but
He also got shot in
was.
the offseason, but yeah, don't talk about that.
He Yeah, he's playing this Andre Iosivas, so I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. Yosivas.
From Princeton.
And he obviously just picked him up. We'll get into those in a second. But yeah,
Snickers, I think you're the only person who would know he's from Princeton. I think you're literally the only person on earth that knew that.
Every single Bengals game, Chris Collinsworth talks about him like 10 times and says from Princeton. So I don't know.
Okay, I could believe that Chris Collins. It would be you and Chris Collins would be the only people that would know it. Fair enough.
And watching
Legendary
all the Bengals
Bengal.
games, apparently. The
Apparently.
Bungles.
Don't watch the Bungles. It's not worth it.
And Carson Steele is not going to be impressive this week. I'm calling that right now. So you have a shot here, Snickers. I think a pretty decent shot. Now let's look at the free agents. It's been a fun I haven't actually gone in on a lot of free agents so far, and that's just because I haven't seen anyone that really caught my attention. But it's been a lively area. Obviously Ducky went in on Yosivas for 11. He's been an aggressive spender this year. I think his money is actually almost gone. Also got Cole Kmet. I love though that he Tyler Johnson and Jordan Whittington were players like 2 weeks ago. Has spent, I think, almost as maybe $20 on this
Yeah,
pair, and now they're back in the waivers. So,
yeah. No, it's
um,
exciting. I mean, yeah, he picked up Yossi Valis, he picked up Cole Kmet, who's still on his bench. We'll see if he puts him in the lineup there. I picked up Zach Ertz, two tight ends, spending money on. It's a little strange, especially in this climate where tight ends are not doing anything. But I was very excited by the Washington game I was watching on Monday that Zach Ertz seemed like he was involved in every single play, and then it turns out he had 4 catches for 40 yards. So we'll see if that turns into anything more moving forward here.
yeah, Kenny, what's been your philosophy with the waivers this year? I think you've had made some moves, if I remember.
I made a couple. Who did I pick up? I think I picked up them. I pick up Demarcus Robinson. I think I picked up Demarcus Robinson. I picked up like Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry, I picked up because Njoku was out.
Mhm.
I'm mostly on the try to be a little patient, not trying to go. I'm not trying to spend $60 on Isaiah Likely and reach for the stars. But I'll dabble. We'll see throughout the season kind of where I think I can. Again, I'm after mostly well-rounded on the team. I think we're trying to stay like steady this year, not trying to do anything too crazy, no wild moves, but and then have a little bit maybe ready if at the end of the season suddenly I have a huge blowout injury and it's like, okay, I need the next best player and I make sure I'm not going to lose out on that.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
Dudley's not going to
that's
have money if he has multiple players get injured suddenly. Now, sure, he has at least a pretty decent bench, but like if he's trying to spend money at the back half of the season, he's not going to have anything. He's not going to be able to do anything. So you got to always find that balance. It's a little bit of give and take there.
well, they
Yeah.
say, that I mean, I think the spend early strategy is legitimate in that you get the best players early, you have them the whole season. I just haven't seen that player this year. It certainly wasn't likely from in my mind. Um,
I'm completely on board with you. I don't like. I thought he was good. I don't think it was he was ever $60 good. Like I think if there is that player, like you can tell, like there's something strange and like ethereal and magical about them. Like then it's
Mm.
like okay, you got to send it. But like I'm with you here, Nate. Like it's just that they're not there.
but I am happy. I will certainly be willing to spend up if that player does arise, whether it's a big injury or whatever. But we'll see. There's definitely some cash still out there for other people. Um, now, yeah, the last thing I just want to confirm with you, Kenny, before we let you go, is that we had Nick Adams on the show. I think he's been well documented as kind of your official rival at this point. You guys had a bit of a bet. You won that bet,
I
and he
did.
was pretty eager to say that there's this coming back around. You guys are playing each other again this year. Will you take up the bet again?
Oh, absolutely. That's not even a question. I mean, so Nick and I, we go back a little ways. We were roommates in college for a year. We actually were roommates for a year, and I think that probably
Mm.
sparked the beginnings of the rivalry. Yeah, I think that was kind of the spark, and now I think carrying that into the fantasy league for sure. Number one rival right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
No, it's exciting. I really like all these outside bets that are coming on that are going one against each other. Nick said he's going to go against everyone, have the same bet for anyone throughout the week here, and sounds like either double or nothing or triple or nothing when it comes to the end of the season playoffs where you guys match up again.
Oh yeah, well, I'll happily take him up on another bet. It's hey, I got to sip and enjoy my drink this evening. I didn't have to chug this one.
at
No
least this
Mm.
time.
shotgunning yet. Coming for you, Nick.
Well, it's been great having you on the show tonight, Kenny. We really appreciate you joining us.
Always a pleasure, guys.
All right. So now, everyone, please welcome Caitlin to the show for Caitlin and her hot takes.
Hello.
Whoa.
All right, Caitlin. You've been very excited to have a chance to join the show this year. It sounds like there is some issues that you have up your sleeve.
Yeah, have you heard about this Super Bowl halftime show?
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar, baby.
Yeah. How are you guys feeling about it?
I don't know. I think Kendrick might be bad.
What? He's a great performer.
He is a great performer. He's very popular, and Nate doesn't know who he is. So
Nate does. When we started dating, I was a fan of Kendrick, so Nate listened to the whole "Good Kid, Bad City" album to impress me, even though I hadn't actually listened to the whole album.
yeah, it's a good one. That Pimp a Butterfly. It's some good albums back then. I need to listen to more of his new stuff, but you showed me that a couple of weeks ago in the car. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I do admit like I do like Kendrick. Not that I listen regularly, but perhaps put on a good show. But did you have some takes on this halftime performance?
well, some people feel like Lil Wayne should have been chosen, because apparently Lil Wayne, New Orleans is his hometown, and apparently when asked in an interview on how he would feel about doing the Super Bowl halftime show, he said absolutely he would do it, and he'd do like the whole show by himself, and it would be like his greatest achievement.
mm.
I'm exaggerating a little, but he was really hyped for it. So some people feel like Lil Wayne should have been chosen.
He's from New Orleans. My understanding, isn't he a Green Bay Packers fan? Outspoken Packers fan?
I don't know.
Maybe they thought that he was being disingenuous about his New Orleans love.
I think his music may not be the most family friendly.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, not that the Super Bowl has to be that family friendly, but I feel like Lil Wayne's music in particular wouldn't do the best on TV. Not that Kendrick's music is all squeaky clean or anything, but and a lot of the Lil Wayne music I know is more of him being featured in other songs. I guess I don't know his solo songs that well.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Let's
don't
see.
know. I mean, I think the Super Bowl has to be a pretty PG performance.
Like I feel like it's been it's been a bit PG-13 maybe, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2004, Janet Jackson. I don't know how PG it has to be.
Well, that's why we all remember it because
What?
it was very much not PG, and the NFL was very embarrassed about that.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like they've been like kind of starting to push a little more since then. Like I feel like after that things were pretty PG and now they're kind of pushing a little more. But I don't know. I have trouble seeing Lil Wayne being able to kind of perform an entire set on TV without a lot of things being bleeped out.
Yeah.
And you're right, he is a big Packers fan. So you think he's like a fake New Orleans, not a true New Orleans like loyal?
I'm not calling him out for that. I just think that might be one reason the NFL did that, because I think it's pretty well known where his fandom lies. But Packers, Saints, both easy teams to root for if you don't have anyone that you're rooting for. So maybe he just likes everybody a little bit.
Yeah, and you also had some thoughts to share about the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift relationship. Is that right?
Did I?
I thought you might have mentioned that to me in the kitchen last week. You thought
Travis
maybe the
Kelce.
relationship was all fake or something?
I don't think that was me.
I think Nate said that to me that you said that, but I think it sounds like Nate thinks that. So Nate, what do you think about the relationship?
Yeah, I think you
I
have
haven't been
something you
following
want to
it.
share.
I could have sworn that Caitlin was talking about how it was never real and that maybe I don't know.
Nothing's real, man.
Yeah. Maybe she
Well,
was actually
Taylor's a
dating.
great businesswoman, so if it's not real, that's okay. She's doing a great job making money off of it. So, Swifties would still support her.
Yeah, like Kenny just said, we're living in Taylor's world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other hot takes you want to share with us before we let everyone go tonight, Caitlin?
Not really. Just excited to see Kendrick, and I'm Team Kendrick for being chosen. And happy about it.
Wow, it sounds like that's the most excited you've been about a football game in years, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I'll be watching.
Very nice. It
Are
sounds
you
like
gonna be
we all
watching
will.
the Super Bowl?
Yeah, as we always do.
I mean, it's pretty boring, but.
Last year was overtime, maybe. How more exciting can it get?
I was very disappointed. We had work the next day, and we had to stay and watch it.
That's true. That's true.
Well, there you have it. There are Caitlin's hot takes. So thanks everyone for joining us this evening. I hope that the you all enjoy the Giants game tonight, and we'll see you all next week.